What's up, everybody, and welcome back to A Beer a Day with TK. It's a warm, humid summer's day here in Findlay, Ohio, and I'm hanging out in the beer shed getting ready to check out a new beer. Now, I think this is the first video that I've actually recorded in the shed since I got back from the 2024 Beer Tubers Get-Together, Brew Tubers Get-Together, up in Ontario. It was Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Brilliant time. I think there was probably about, I don't know, maybe a dozen channels are there. Really great time. And Rod J from Rod J's Beer Ventures actually sent us out these commemorative glasses, which is pretty sweet. And while we were up there, the Yeti and I drove. We stopped by a beer store because the LCBO was on strike, unfortunately. There's our luck, right? We go to Canada, and the one time we're there, the kind of better beer store where you can get higher end stuff is on strike, so you can't get it. Now, we did manage to hit a ton of breweries. We also hit the beer store, which was an interesting place as well, because you walked in, it was just like, I don't know, it reminded me of a beer distributor in Pennsylvania, except when you have all the cases, you could take individual cans instead of having to buy a whole flat or 12-pack or even a 6-pack. So the Yeti and I went through, we picked out a bunch of single cans, and this was one of them. Now, we have no idea what any of these are, just kind of picked them based on the cans, and we went through with Brew Watts. We were over in Brantford, Ontario, and grabbed basically a case of random beers. I don't even remember which were which, so this is one of the ones that we picked up. Now, as this is going to be a Wednesday video, I'm going to do a WTF Wednesday review. For those of you who may be new to the channel, WTF Wednesday is a one day a week. When I do a beer on the program, I normally wouldn't. Sometimes this means I do stuff from the big boys, Bud, Miller, and Coors. Sometimes I do interesting offerings from microbreweries. And more recently, I've been trying to get those stamps in the passport and do some international beers. Now, Canada's not that far from where I live in Northwest Ohio, but it is another country. So this falls into that category of international flair. And this one is by Lake of the Woods Brewing Company, and it is called Forgotten Lake Blueberry Ale. Now, we got a little blurb here on the back. Hidden in the Lake of the Woods region, on a small back lake, there exist patches of berries usually reserved for black bears and moose. A moose once bit my sister. The beer is subtle, with a clear, fruity nose, muted blueberry, low bitterness, and medium finish. Although high in ABV, its finish is smooth and well-balanced. And it says, make it lake time. What else do we have on here? Lake of the Woods Brewing, Kenora, Ontario, Canada. We got a phone number for them. Website, lowbrewco.com. Make it lake time, so a tag. And then we have 14,522. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's their elevation or something. Not sure what that is. I've never noticed that before. This one's also noted as strong beer. So I think, as we said in the last video, I think somebody told me anything over 5.5 in Canada is considered beer or forte or strong beer. So this falls into that category. We got some ingredients: water, malted barley, blueberries, hops, and yeast. And it does say brewed with actual blueberries. So that's positive, right? We don't want puree, or we don't want like some, chemical thing. I guess puree would probably be acceptable, but no chemicals, no fake blueberry. All right. Can is pretty interesting looking. We got a little plain there. Forgotten Lake. As to the beer, has the color you'd kind of expect for a blueberry lager or blueberry beer. It's kind of a, like a pinkish, purplish type color. I mean, it's definitely kind of like amber, but with a purplish or pinkish type hue. Head, probably got a finger's worth. And it looks white initially, but when you look at it from the top, you can kind of see there is some maybe like purple or pinkish hue to that as well. But looks pretty good. Let's give it a sniff. It smells just blueberries. Not getting a heck of a lot more. And that's okay, because blueberries are magnificent. Yeah, it smells like a nice summer sipper. Now, that 7.1, I'm interested to see how that mixes in. Let's see what it says now. Beer is subtle with a clear, fruity nose. I would agree with that. It was just blueberry. Muted blueberry, low bitterness, and medium body. Let's give it a shot. Cheers. Medium body, I don't know about that. That's pretty light. I would say this is light bodied. It's not medium for sure. This is very, very thin. I will say this, as it's a blueberry beer, and I kind of, in my brain, I equate that with being a summer sipper, a summer beer. The lighter body doesn't really bother me too much. And as it's kind of warm in here, it's not super hot today. It's a bit overcast because it's been raining, but it's quite humid. The lighter body doesn't bother me on this. But I will say, I don't know, whenever you see what it's supposed to be on the can and you start off with, nah, that ain't it, never a good start. Now, review-wise, this thing does pretty good. 3.47 on Untappd. Beer Advocate of 3.56, so pretty solid all around. As to the flavors, I would say this. Even though the body, I don't think was as described the rest of it is. I think muted blueberry is appropriate. You definitely get blueberry that comes through, but it's not overwhelming and sweet. It is kind of more like a natural blueberry. So if you think about natural blueberries, you got a little bit of sweetness, maybe a tiny bit of tartness to them. But it's not an overwhelmingly sweet fruit. And I think this captures the essence of the blueberry pretty good in that regard. What else do you get? Really not a heck of a lot more. You might get a little bit of some sort of malt, grainy backbone there to counterbalance the blueberries a tiny bit, but that's kind of it. What else did the can say now? Subtle, clear fruity nose, yes. Muted blueberry, yeah, I would agree with that. Low bitterness, yeah. I think I looked it up here. It said 7.1% ABV and only 13 IBUs. So this is definitely on the lower end of the bitterness scale. And you really don't get a whole lot of it. You might get a tiny bit at the back end, and that's kind of it. So for this, it's pretty simple, straightforward beer. Again, you got a little bit of, I would say, a little bit of grainy malt. Mostly what you're picking up is a light dialed down blueberry, which tastes quite nice and refreshing. It's rather light bodied. And for 7.1% ABV, I think it hides the alcohol quite well. If you were to hand me this on a warm day, you're out fishing or barbecuing or whatever you're doing, and you drank one of these, I don't think you'd ever consider it 7.1% beer. You'd probably think this is more like a lighter lager, a lighter ale that just has a little bit of blueberries, and it would do the job on a warm day. And I would say this, it does the job for me. Now, I do think the ratings might be a little bit high. I think 3.56, 3.47, maybe slightly high, but it's a solid beer. I do like it. So Forgotten Lake Blueberry Ale from Lake of the Woods Brewing, you would get a thumbs up. I would drink another one of these for sure. This was a solid pickup at the beer store. I don't think any of the beers there, hey baby, I don't think any of the beers there we paid more than a couple bucks each for. So, hey, no, that's my beer. So it would be a big thumbs up for me. Hopefully you like the video. Give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit subscribe. Hey, and if you want to check out this little one, this is my new puppy, Maggie. She is actually on the Instagram channel with her big sister that my wife had set up, which is, I think it's Roxy the Boxer. I'll throw a link down there. But she always wants to come in and investigate my beer videos and try to drink my beers. It looks like she has stuff all over her nose from the yard. So, hey, solid beer. Again, if you've had it before, jump in down below in the comments. Let me know what you think about it. Till next time, cheers.